Picture this. Your memory is in decline, your thinking and reasoning skills are gone, and you often feel lost and confused. The reality is we all know someone who has a form of dementia, and the stats say we should all be concerned. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch today's episode on Women Talk. I'm Deborah Henry, and I am thrilled to introduce a wonderful new co-host on the show today, joining the Women Talk family, Sazzy Falak.
Hey, Deborah. Hi, I'm Sazzy, and I'm happy to be a part of this show. It's been a great 2 seasons, so I'm happy to be here to help facilitate discussions that can help bring, awareness to the things that matter to us women, and not just us women, but to the other genders as well, regardless of their age and background.
Exactly. And today we're going to be talking about quite an interesting topic, actually. It's not we're talking about dementia and Alzheimer's.
Yes.
A topic that I've not actually, to be honest, had a lot of I guess, intimacy or introduction to. I don't actually have anyone in my family who's suffering from it, but I think the reality is everyone knows someone who is.
Exactly. It's not a topic that we usually talk about, and that's why I think we're talking about it in today's episode. It has also been said by a former health minister, Khairy Jamaluddin. He was saying, he calls it a cruel condition because he was talking about his father-in-law, who happens to be also our former Prime Minister, Tun Abdullah Ahmad Badawi, or as we fondly call Pak Lah.
So, but we're very thrilled to have on the show with us today two fantastic guests, and thank you for being here with us today, and also thank you for sharing, your stories with us and everyone watching at home. We have Munto Fong. You are the General Manager of Commune Care, a dementia unit providing relief for families living with people going through various forms of dementia.
And we also have May Miranda, who's a chef, caterer and caregiver, and a silver medalist in Culinary World Cup. And I believe you specialize in Indian cuisine.
Yes, I do.
Welcome to the show, and thanks for being a part of the show.
Yeah. Maybe, Munto, if you can share with us a little bit, give us a bit of perspective, because Sazzy and I, when we were preparing for today, we were like, is Alzheimer's dementia? Is dementia Alzheimer's? What exactly is the difference? So, dementia, educate us.
Dementia is basically a general name for the mental faculty issues. Okay, so it's a big general name, dementia.
Right.
And then Alzheimer is just one of the 4 major brand. And very often people, you ask me, how do you know when you have Alzheimer? The fact is if you know you cannot remember, then you don't have Alzheimer. Okay. If you don't know, that is when we have to be concerned.
Okay.
And then when you start fighting with people, you say, I didn't make any mistake. I didn't say that. That is when I think you should do a bit of diagnosis.
I see. So what are the early signs of dementia or Alzheimer's? What are the symptoms that we need to look out for?
In my case, my husband, Mike, my late husband, he always, like we got into the food business, right? He always wanted to, that was his hobby. But along the way, as we started with our business and all that, slowly I found out that he was forgetting a lot of things. Like he would go out to send the food and then he would forget to come back. There were so many things that was happening. And we decided that we should send him to do a CT scan.
I see.
And only after we did a CT scan, we found out that he was having dementia. The doctor asked me, he said, how old is your husband? I said he was about 45 then.
Oh, that is very young.
Yeah, and then he told me, the brain shows, the X-ray, the scan shows that it belongs to like an 85-year-old guy.
Goodness.
Yes.
How did you know, may I ask, how did you know it was very serious? Because, there are times when I walk into the kitchen and I'm like, why am I here? So what were the signs that really stood out for you?
Okay, for me, it was like he could not sort of do what he's supposed to do. He was forgetting, and then he doesn't want to talk so much. He's quite quiet. And then we couldn't have a conversation. When you're asking something, he just sits there for a while. All those things started to disturb me.
Right.
And I have a brother in Canada who takes care of the senior citizens there. So he told me some of the things, the signs to look out for. And he's the one who actually told me that I probably should get him to go and do a CT scan. Yes.
My aunt, my wife's aunt actually, she went for a hairdresser and she can't find her way back. And
Something is
just
simple.
a
And she's
random
been there
thing.
many times.
And
I
it's a random. It's just, and it was just the beginning.
Yeah.
So and they asked me where to look for her. I said, okay, if it happens like this, look for her first house. So they went to the first house where she was born, she was raised, and they found her within the 300 meters around there.
Wow, that's
Wow.
That's
You always
interesting.
remember the things in
Yes.
the past.
The first house, always the first house. It's very strange. The compass is always pointing to the first
Yeah.
house. So, so they found her, and then I said, you better take her for a scan and take note. So she didn't have a full dementia, but it's the beginning.
Those are the early signs.
Yeah, the early signs.
When you first talk to family members and you talk to, or in general to people or the media, for example, what are the kind of conversations you typically have with them when trying to ease them into
Like talking to them?
Yes, or the
Yeah.
inevitable.
Like when you want to talk to them, is it like you just ask them something? They don't want to answer you anything. They're just sitting there staring blank at you. And sometimes, you see, in the beginning we also didn't know. I didn't know how to handle a situation like that. Okay, it was only as time was going on, then as time was passing, I sort of understood and got some advice from people around.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I
and
still
even the
want-
doctors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people thought that but by giving it a name, you think Alzheimer is generic to all. But I think a lot of people don't understand
that's true.
it is a spectrum. So our background, our context, our life, put into that condition, and there's a spectrum. So for my father, it was beginning about him looking at pretty girls. Okay, I know he was as a chatty man, young man.
That's charming.
Okay,
So
I see.
it's not, oh, she looks pretty. So
Brought him back his youth.
he always told me that, he always talked, I knew my father was like that when he was young. But it kept happening again and again. She's very pretty. This is very pretty. So we knew it's coming.
Okay.
So
goodness.
from my experience,
Yeah.
so my father-in-law was different.
Okay.
He kept forgetting to come back. So we had a lot of hunting sessions.
Okay.
At least 2 major hunting
So you
sessions.
start picking up a pattern, right, in behavior or
They
repeated.
start repeating the same thing over and over.
Things which is not normal with them.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break, guys. When we come back, we're going to talk about what it means to live with someone with dementia. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to Women Talk, and today we're talking about dementia and what many people call a cruel condition. And, just hearing Tonton, you're sharing stories of how you look for people when they go missing. It just feels like heartbreaking almost.
Yeah.
Like family members, to see them fall down, to see them lost, to see them look so helpless. But here's an alarming statistic. So 8.5% of Malaysians above 60-year-olds have Alzheimer's, which seems a bit alarming. Is it because that we're diagnosing it more now?
I think the awareness, people are diagnosing, and there's a lot of tools available in the apps to do their own diagnosis, and they get scared, they see a doctor. So awareness are there. I think it's getting more, it's very important. So
Right.
that's why they say it's higher in numbers now.
Okay. I think listening to your stories, and if you may, your husband and your
Late mom.
your mother, right?
Yes.
And you said they've both had very different experiences with
Yes,
dementia.
yes.
And it takes a toll. We very often don't focus on the caregiver, the primary caregiver, the family, the people really taking care of these people. What is that like, living with someone with dementia, May?
Actually, it's very, very difficult because
I can
for us,
imagine.
it's like, you come to a point, you are living in denial. You think they're okay. And then you feel very sad because the ones that you know, now they are getting older. You cannot accept it for a while. But as it starts to set in, then you tend to have that compassion for them.
Yeah. Right.
Like my late husband, he used to walk up and down the toilet. He used to open and close the fridge door, turn on and off the lights. Where my mom, when sundown, she used to get up after her afternoon nap. She used to sit and cry and cry.
Aww.
And then we try to talk to her, pacify her. Sometimes she gets very angry, but sometimes we just try to divert her. Divert her, her thinking or whatever she's trying to talk. And then maybe turn on some cooking shows and all that. She gets excited. They come in and out of it quite fast.
I see.
Yeah.
And at that time when you went through those, what sort of support did you look for? You know, did you start looking for caregivers that could support you?
No,
I
had support from my other siblings.
Okay.
And one of my brothers, he works in Canada in old folks home and with the senior citizens. So he used to tell us what to do, how to handle the situation, and then he told us that probably we need to go and take her to see a doctor and give her some medication just to keep her calm.
All right.
Yeah, to keep her calm.
I'm more blessed in the sense that both my father and my father-in-law we started, but they passed on before it became a full-blown dementia. And it was a happy and sad way for me because I'm glad they did not have a full-blown because it will be will take a toll on me and my family and all the rest. But the sad thing is, you know, they left us, left me, you know. So I think that's sad. But having said that, when it comes to dementia, I think taking care of them is not easy. You need a lot of help. You know, it takes a village to raise a kid. You take a full-blown city to take care of a dementia.
Wow.
So there are actually people who send their parents to my place to rest for a month. I need a break. I say, yeah, please do come.
That's important too.
Yes.
Right?
Look, the caregivers are the most neglected. The primary caregivers, just now was mentioned, are very often being exploited or being in some way verbally or mentally abused by their own siblings because, they will teach you what to do. Oh, I think you should do it this way, you should do it. Why didn't you do this? I think I've seen quite often, because I've been doing it for 23 years and I've been talking to the family members, especially the primary caregiver. Sometimes they really cry in front of you, of me, and they say, you know, my brothers don't understand. They always make sure they make me feel useless.
It's really sad.
But they just because they pay money to buy the food doesn't mean they give them the rights to abuse the sister or the brother. So I think, and usually women are the one on the short end of the stick. So I think something has to be done. I think a lot of thinking has to be taken care of. I'm not looking into policy matters, but I think on the family side and the human side, I think we should seriously and rethink. And the man should take charge more in this matter and not just leave it to the women.
To be caretakers.
Responsibilities as well. Because I was mentioning that, you know, I had a family member, a grand aunt, that went through Alzheimer's. And what I noticed was that it wasn't really affecting her, but it was affecting those around her, her children, my two aunts, and my cousin, which is her granddaughter, and of course her late husband, who passed on way after her. But however, it was more on them. So where can these families seek support? Like, you know, you come from community care. Maybe you could explain.
I think the first thing is you must understand the basic of dementia, and they must understand they themselves must. The person having dementia doesn't know he or she is having dementia. So they're repeating. They don't even know. So they are out of the picture. The caregivers, the people by the side, are the one who have to figure out what to do. And the first thing most people think is this. I use the word normalcy, okay? A lot of people think having dementia is something wrong. Let's start by thinking, dementia is normal.
It's like having a flu?
Like a flu, like a new normal.
Okay.
So then we look at it, if this is going to be my dad's or my mom's normal, how do I live with this normal person in the new way? So I think we have to change our own thinking. And you start looking at the right way of dealing with it. Number one, dementia, you cannot tell them, no, you are wrong. You cannot remember. Don't ask them to remember who you are. Don't use negative words.
Don't have these expectations that we still put on them.
Don't expect them to recover. Just treat it as normal.
It is what it is. So actually it's acceptance on our part, or the caregiver's part, the family's part.
And working on our mindset.
A new normal. The
That's a good way to put it.
It's more for the family members.
It's more for family members,
And of course, all the family members, the siblings usually end up having some misunderstanding. Why didn't you do it this way?
I'm just imagining in my head right now.
I
think what my general advice to them is, look, this is a losing battle. Don't try to win the battle. Just enjoy that day, okay? Enjoy the moment. And enjoy each moment, each day, as if this is a new day or the last day. So just don't take it as you try to win. Because when you try to go for healing, you try to look for things to prevent things from happening, which you can't. And when people feel helpless and restless, they become desperate and they become agitated, and they themselves causing more problems for everybody else than the person having dementia.
Yes.
Wow. Well said. Well said. We have to take a quick break now. When we come back, I was going to ask you about like treatments and solutions, but after that, I'm not sure. You know, I'm like, what do I talk about next? But maybe a little bit about like public health. What would we ask the government to do, or our Ministry of Health? Like, do we want to see changes there? Things like that. We'll speak about that when we come back after the break.
Welcome back, and you're still on Women Talk. Now we're going to dive deeper into the topic of dementia. Do you think dementia is a public health issue? Maybe we can start off with Tonton.
Well, it is going to be a public health issue. If they're just over 60, I think having more of 8 point something percent.
8.5%.
That's a lot, to have. It's
and that's in Malaysia only.
Yeah, no, that's Malaysia only. And I think just incidentally, just a quick one, diversion. I knew the caregiver who took care of Kyrie's father-in-law. Okay, so it wasn't easy. But I think it is an issue, and I'm glad the former health minister is very brave of him to do that.
Yeah.
And for the family to allow us to use his life to tell us, no, this can happen to anybody.
Yes.
I think I'm thankful for that, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I'm someone who believes very strongly, I think Sazzy, you too, in lifestyle, in the things that we can do today when we're young and feel fit and healthy, and how we live our lives to prevent, to mitigate, to reduce, slow down, whatever you may say, disease and illness. Can we do the same with dementia? Like, are there preventative things you can take in your life?
Yeah, I'm sure.
You can slow down.
I'm sure.
Slow down, like individually, like, there's like vitamins that you can start taking, and
even before, like.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we're reading this guy, Thor, the actor in the movie. He did this DNA test.
Chris Hemsworth.
And he found out that he had some of the genes that predisposes him to perhaps getting Alzheimer's in his later years. So he's sort of like, I'm going to take a sabbatical from acting so I can spend time, I mean, knowing that, so supplements,
so it's like
food, lifestyle.
It's like beginning with the end in mind kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah. Definitely, if you keep yourself active, think happy, think positive, keep yourself busy with work, have a bit of work stress is good, I think, I know that it will slow down the whole process.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of men get it after they're about to retire. And then they start worrying, and they go through andropause, not menopause, andropause. Okay, so
wrong gender.
Wrong gender. So they will have their own slowing down. So that's why retirement is an evil word in my mind. To me. So I think I don't want anyone to retire. Just keep doing something that makes you happy, or help someone. When you focus your life on others, you don't have time to focus on yourself. You won't be boring.
Right. Yes, so it's back to lifestyle then.
Back to lifestyle, yes. It helps. It helps.
So now that we know things are happening, so we might as well start doing something early.
Exercise, that's for sure.
Of course, that's good.
Don't look at me. And
that's why we're talking about this today. We want to create awareness about this so that people are able to look into this concern as well. And maybe, they can, if they see early signs in their loved ones, they can do something about it.
Well, I think something we always say on the show is, it's early detection, it's always having conversations, something that we're doing here at the table. It's talking about it, seeking knowledge. When you're more aware, you're able to help those around you in a better way. But I loved what you said, Munto, earlier about, and maybe you can just reiterate quickly because we've got to wrap it up now, but about when it's always best for the person to stay at home, so to be in a familiar home environment, and then when I guess caretakers come in, and also when then you move somebody to a home.
Okay,
so what does that journey look like?
I will try to answer in 1 minute. Okay.
Or less. 30 seconds.
Okay, we have triggers we use triggers to bring out memories, things you touch, smell, and all these things, and familiar places. So that's very important. You move to a new place, nothing is familiar, so nothing to trigger the memory. The chair by the corner, you remember your father scolding you for getting only 9 A's and not 10 A's. So that is a trigger. The chair is a trigger.
Right.
But you come to a home, there's none. So by the time they enter our place, their condition will drop at least 20%. And some recovered, but most no. So I think staying at home is still the best.
Okay. All right.
I feel so.
Okay.
Staying at home,
Bring them in a familiar place.
Yeah, you need to.
Environment that they are comfortable in. and they know where they are. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, we have a center, but we are here as a safety net to help support others. Yeah. It's not the place to be, if you can.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, both of you, for being on the show today. And to all of you guys watching at home, we hope, I mean, it's been an absolute education for me to learn so much from both of you.
And for me too, especially.
And it's certainly not an easy illness to deal with, whether I think more so when it's happening, you're a caretaker and it's happening to your loved ones, and you've got to witness them go through such hard stuff. So thank you both for sharing your stories. And we hope you guys have, learned a thing or two from the show, and we shall see you next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.